Hare Krishna, Mataji, can you hear me?
Yes, lovely.
Shall we start?
Jai.
Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari
Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari
Jaya Gopi Vallabha Girivaradhari
Jai
Jaya
Gopi
Vallabha
Girivaradhari
Shodhanandana Vraja Jana Ranjana
Yashodanandana
Yashodanandana
Vrajana Ranjana
Yamunatira Vanachari
Yamuna Tira Vanachari
Vanachari
Jaya Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari
Jaya
Jaya Radha Madhava
Madhava
Jaya
Jaya Kunja
Kunja
Bihari
Bihari
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare
Hare
Krishna
Krishna Hare Krishna
Krishna Krishna Krishna
Krishna
Hare
Hare Hare
Hare Hare
Hare
Rama
Rama
Hare Rama
Rama Rama
Rama Rama
Rama
Hare Hare
Hare
Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare
Hare Krishna
Krishna
Hare
Hare
Krishna
Krishna
Krishna Krishna
Krishna
Hare
Hare Hare
Hare Hare
Hare
Rama
Rama
Hare
Hare
Rama
Rama Rama
Rama
Rama
Rama Hare
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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare
Hare Krishna
Krishna Hare
Hare
Krishna
Krishna Krishna
Krishna
Krishna
Krishna
Hare
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 Hare Hare
Hare Rama
Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare
Hare
Krishna
Krishna
Hare
Hare Krishna
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 Hare
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 Rama
Rama Hare
Hare
Rama
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 Hare
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 Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Nitai Jaya Radha Nitai
Jaya Goranita, Jaya Goranita, Jaya Goranita, Jaya Goranita.
Jaya Jaya Prabhupada
Prabhupada,
Prabhupada Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Prabhupada
Jaya Jaya
Jaya
Prabhupada,
Prabhupada,
Prabhupada, Prabhupada,
Prabhupada,
Jaya
Jaya
Prabhupada.
Prabhupada.
Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaura Hari Bol
Nitai
Nitya
Gaur
Gaura Hari
Hari
Bol,
Bol,
Hari
Hari Bol,
Bol, Hari
Hari Bol,
Bol,
Nitai
Nitya
Gaura
Gaura
Hari
Hari
Bol.
Bol.
Sankirtan ki
Jai.
ग्रंथ श्रीमद् भागवतम की
Jai,
श्री प्रभुपाद की
Jai.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees, welcome you all for today's Srimad Bhagavatam Katha. So today we will be covering verses from 18, 19, 20. It's chapter 2 of Canto 5, verse 18, 19 and 20. But I will recite 18 and 19 and we'll all decide 20 and repeat as well, and we'll read the translation and quote as well. So these verses, in most of the fifth canto verses, we see they are not poems, they are not padyas, they are gadyas. So we cannot sing in a tune, we have to read most of them. Some we can try to fit in, but most of them we have to read. So I'll read 18 and 19 and 20 will do together as well. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate
Bhagavate
Vasudevaya.
Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate
Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om
Om
Namo
Namo Bhagavate
Bhagavate
Vasudevaya.
Vasudevaya.
Narayanam Namaskrityam
Narayanam
Narayanam
Namaskrityam
Nityam
Naram Chaiva Narottamam
Naram Chaiva Narottamam
Narottamam
Devim Saraswati Vyasam
Devim
Devim Saraswatim
Saraswatim
Vyasam
Vyasam
Tado Jayamudiraye
Tato
Tato Jayam
Jayam
Udire
Udire
Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu
Nashtapraeshu
Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu
Abhadreshu
Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya
Nityam
Nityam
Bhagavata
Bhagavata
Sevaya
Sevaya
Bhagavate Ruttama Shloke
Bhagavati
Bhagavate
Uttama
Uttama
Shloke
Shloke
Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki.
Bhaktir
Bhaktir Bhavati
Bhavati
Naishtaki.
Naishtaki.
Text 18, I will read. Sacha tathastasya vira yutha pathir buddhi shilha rupa vayaha Shri Yudha Shri Audhariyena Parakshipta Manasthena Sahayutayutha Parivastaropalakshanam Kalam Jambudvibhapatina Bhaumasvarga Bhogan Bubuje. Translation: attracted by the intelligence, learning, youth, beauty, behavior, opulence, and magnanimity of Agnidhara, the king of Jambudvipa, the master of all heroes, Purvachiti lived with him for many thousands of years and luxuriously enjoyed with worldly and heavenly happiness. Purport by His Divine Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. By the grace of Lord Brahma, King Agnidhara and the heavenly girl Purvachiti found their union quite suitable. Thus they enjoyed worldly and heavenly happiness for many thousands of years. We'll read text 19. Tasyam yuhava atmajam sarajavara agnidro nabhi kim purusha harivarshalavruta ramyaka hiranmaya kuru bhadrashva ketumala samagnan nava putram ajanayat. Translation. In the womb of Purvachitti, Maharaj Agnidhara, the best of the kings, begot 9 sons, named Nabi, Kimpurusha, Harivarsha, Ilavrata, Ramyaka, Hiranmaya, Kuru, Bhadrashva, and Ketumala. Text 20. Sasuvata Suthan. Devotees, you can repeat after me. Sasuvata Suthan Navanuvatsaram.
Sasutavata Sutannavanvatsaram
Griha eva pahaya purvachitir.
Griha eva pahaya purvachitir
Bhuya eva jam devam upasate.
Bhuya
eva
eva
jam
devam
upatashate
Sasutvarta suthan navanu vatsaram.
Sasuvatha sutam
Sutannavanvatsaram
Griha eva pahaya purvachittir.
Griha eva
eva
pahaya
pahaya
purvachitir
purvachitir
Bhuya eva jam devam upataste.
Bhuya eva jam
jam
deva
devam
upataste
Sasutvata suthan navanu vatsaram.
Sutvatha sutanavanuvatsaram
Eva pahaya purvachittir bhuya.
Graha eva pahaya purvachitir
Bhuya
Evajam devam upataste.
eva jam
Evajam
devam
deva
upataste.
upataste
Devotees, please. Anyone to recite?
Sasutavatha sutan navanuvatsaram
Sasutvatha
Sutvatha sutanavanuvatsaram
Graha eva pahaya purvachitir bhuya
Griha eva pahaya purvachitir bhuya
eva jam devam upastaste
Evajam devamupataste Sasutvatha sutan vanuvatsaram
Sasutavata
Sutannavanvatsaram
Graha evapahaya purvachittir
Griha eva pahaya purvachitir
Bhuya evajam devam upataste
Bhuya eva jam devam upataste
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Sasutvata sutan navanuvatsaram
Sasutvatha sutan navanuvatsaram
Griha eva pahaya purvachitir
Griha evapahaya purvachittir
Bhuya eva jam devam upataste
Bhuya evajam deva upataste
सासुत्वसूतनवानुवत्सरम्
तासु त्वाथ
सुतान्नवानुवत्सरम्
सुतन्नवानुवत्सरम्
गृह एव पहाय पूर्वचित्ते
गृह एवापहाय पूर्वचित्ते
भूय एव जं देवमुपतस्ते
भूय एवाजं देवम् उपतस्थे
Devotees, word to word translation. Sa, she,
Ta, she.
Sutva, after giving birth to.
after giving birth to.
Giving birth to.
Atha, thereafter.
Atha, thereafter.
Suthan, sons.
Sutan, sons.
Nava, 9.
Nava, 9.
Anuvatsaram, year after year.
Anuvatsaram, year after year.
Grihe,
Grihe,
at home.
at home.
Eva,
Eva,
certainly.
certainly.
Apahaya,
Apahaya,
leaving.
leaving.
Purvachittihi,
Purvachittihi,
Purvachitti.
Purvachitti.
Bhuya,
Bhuyah,
again.
again.
Eva,
Eva,
certainly.
certainly.
Ajam,
Ajam,
Lord Brahma.
Lord Brahma.
Devam,
Devam,
the demigod.
the demigod.
Upataste,
Upatasthe,
approached.
approached.
Translation. Purvachitti gave birth to these 9 sons.
Purvachitti gave birth to these 9 sons,
One each year.
one each year.
But after they grew up,
But after they grew up,
she left them at home
he left them at home
and again approached
and again approached
Lord Brahma to worship him.
Lord Brahma to worship him.
Purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. There are many instances in which Apsaras, heavenly angels, have descended to his earth by the order of a superior demigod like Lord Brahma or Lord Indra, have followed the demigod's order by marrying someone and giving birth to children, and have then returned to their celestial homes. For example, after Menaka, the celestial woman who had come to delude Vishwamitra Muni, gave birth to the child Shakuntala. She left both the child and her husband and returned to heavenly planets. Purvachitti did not permanently remain with Maharaja Agnidhara. After cooperating in his household affairs, she left Maharaja Agnidhara and all 9 sons and returned to Brahma to worship him. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalaakaya Chakshurunmitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagra Chatam Sahagana Raghunatam Tam Sachimam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhampitam Sham He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpati Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha Kalpatarubhyasya Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaurabhakta. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, dear devotees, welcome you all again today for Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam discussion. So, we are reading from Canto 5, Chapter 21, Activities of Maharaj Agnidhara. So, we are in the verse 18, 19, 20. We are covering them today. But we see the context of the chapter here is Agnidhara, who is a son of Maharaj Priyavrata. And we see in the beginning how it's described how he was a great ruler of Jambudvipa. But however, he had a material desire. And then we see how he worked towards the desire and he achieved it. And let's go deeper of these three verses for today. So in the verse 18, we see, first of all, beginning of the chapter, we see how this angel from the heavenly planets sent by Lord Brahma. She's so beautiful, so attractive. And Maharaj Agnidhara was attracted to her. And we see how he was flattering her in 7 to 16. So he was, first of all, she's attractive materially, and he's attracted and he's praising her. And in this verse, we see she is also fell for him, for his flattery. But how it is described here clearly, the things that attracted King Agnidhara are completely material. If you see in 18, it talks about youth, beauty, his opulence. He's a king of Jambudvipa, his magnanimity. So all this, he's a master of heroes. This characters of Agnidhara attracted Purvachitti. So we see completely it's based on material attraction from both sides. And they united. And we see in this verse, they happily lived ever after. Not completely like in a material stories, happily lived ever after. That's not possible in this material relationships. We'll very soon see in the 2 verses later, it ended, the happiness ended. So it's not ever after, everlasting happiness. We see this, but they have enjoyed. The verse says they have luxuriously enjoyed worldly and heavenly happiness. They have the happiness and they enjoy for a certain time. The lessons that we can take from this verse, the major teaching is it's attractive. Things, material attraction or material sometimes, we call Maya, all that is not often negative, appear to be negative. It's often dressed in a very exalted packaging. Does not always appear as a crude and really, we say dukkhalayam, ashashvitam. Yes, it is true, but it won't appear like that externally. So when we see any material objects, it's nicely packaged and given by Maya Devi. So it appears attractive, but we'll see the bottom line, how one should take them. So we can all relate to this very well in this age of Kali Yuga. Everything often appears externally beautiful. So for me, when I came to this country, it's definitely beautiful. The roads are clean, people are so nicely dressed up. So I got attracted, yes. But it's very important to see whether we are really, is it really attractive or not? We see people dressed up in suits and boots, not even taking bath. That's very practical. I've seen, I see in my workplace with so much external sprays, we cover it up. And I've seen people, eating nicely. It's culture. We can't eat with hands like you people. Or people might say, it's so nicely sophisticated spoons and forks. But what they're eating on the plane defines the culture. and how you are, I'm myself, we all, in this Kali Yuga, we designate ourselves. I'm so and so, I'm so and so designated in my corporate world. I'm working as this, I'm working as that. Ultimately, the hidden truth is we all are working as Shudras. Unless and until we have Krishna in the center, unless we have that purpose of directing everything towards Krishna, everything external is not beautiful. So we see in the beginning of the chapter how Maharaj Agnidhara had this material aspiration. I want a son so that I can go to Pitruloka. And we see that comes true. So on this aspiration, on this determination, he's getting all these material benefits as well, because his desire is that. Krishna says, Ye yathamam prapadyanti. Whatever you, however you want, I just give, right? Like that, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Yanti deva pradadevan pitrun yanti pitrun vrata bhutani yanti bhutechya yanti matyajino apimam. So Krishna says, Yanti deva, you worship demigods, you will go to that planet. You worship Pitrulokas, you will go to their planet. You worship ghosts, you go to their place, but you worship me, you will come to me. Krishna clearly gives these instructions, but if we ignore and if we get at, but in between we see all these allusions in the world, but we should always stick to our goal. We should always stick to the basics of Bhagavad Gita. That's it. Very soon in this chapter, in this canto, the same descendants of Agnidhara, Rishabhdev explains this very well, very well. What should we desire for? What that is very basic and very important. In verse 5.5.1, Rishabhdev tells to his sons, Nayam Deho Deha Bhajam Loke Te Vitpujam Ye Tapo Divyam Putrakayena Sattvam Shutyeti Yasmad Brahma Saukyam Tvanantam. He gives this very important lesson as a first lesson. When someone who got this human body, very, very precious gift that Krishna has given us, should not work day and night for sense gratification. We see in the beginning how Agnidhara was doing a lot of austerities. For what? For material benedictions, right? So that's what Rishabh is saying, do not work for sense gratification, which is, he's very harsh here, available even for dogs and hogs who eat stool. So this sense gratification is available for someone like that. But we are, as a human beings, we should aspire for higher. Our penance and tapo divyam, our tapo and divyam should attain divine position of devotional service. So he says, then Brahma Saukyam Tvanantam. There he says, then the bliss which is transcendental to this material continues ever after. So happiness ever after. So all forever. He says continues forever. That is a permanent happiness. So we use this tool, we use this instrument for aspiring for Krishna's service, devotional service. So we are not, this earth is teaching, okay, however beautiful that may look like, this packages material prosperities, beautiful, cultured, prosperous. We might sometimes say it's divine arrangement. Oh, it's Krishna has given me, so I'm supposed to honor it. I'm supposed to enjoy it. Yes, but if that enjoyment is not centered towards the Krishna service, that binds us. So that is the teaching of this verse 18. And we'll now see text 19. What in text 19? So how they have begetted 9 children. So that is the context here. So we should understand when these subject matters come in Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, oh, why Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam is giving this information of this attraction children, their what is to do with bhakti, but we should understand one of the subject matter, prasarga, visargasya. So subject matter of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam is visarga. So the secondary creation is explained in Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, dividing the order of the universe, the creation of the universe. So that is the duty of Lord Brahma. And Lord Brahma, if we remember in the previous chapter, that is why he has descended all the way down to convince Priyavrata to take up this responsibility of family duties, Grihastha ashram. He has converted him from brahmachari to Grihastha. So yes, there is a place because it's a service towards Krishna to populate the universe. So that is why, that was the reason Lord Brahma sent Purvachitti. Has given. It's not just for material sense gratification, but he has a purpose to do his service. He has to create. So we see these 9 sons of Agnidhara here. Their union resulted, Agnidhara and Purvachitti union resulted in this progeny, in this creation. And these 9 sons' names we'll hear a lot in this whole canto, further when we hear about the creation. So Agnidhara was the ruler of Jambudvipa. Then he divided the Jambudvipa into his sons. So we see these names: Ketumala Varsha, Hari Varsha, Ramyaka Varsha, Hiranmaya Varsha, Kuru Varsha, Bhadrashvara Varsha. Like that, we hear a lot, Kimpusha Varsha. We hear them throughout the canto. So that is the place, that is the purpose of this verse or this episode coming in Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. Not just that they are divided and ruling it, we also see they, in this Varshas, in the further this canto, the divine worship of the Lord happens. Like in Kimpusha Varsha, Hanuman offers prayers to Lord Ramachandra. And we also see Hari Varsha, where Prahlad Maharaj is offering prayers to Nrsimhadev. So the worship is happening. So that is the purpose of this creation. So that is a part of this whole episode. And we now move on to the verse 20. So in verse 20, we see Purvachitti's departure. And when she left her children and husband and went back to her duties of worshipping Lord Brahma. And Srila Prabhupada mentions it's quite common that these celestial women come and leave after fulfilling their duties. So Srila Prabhupada quotes an example of how Menaka came to attract Vishwamitra, sent by Indra, and after that she went back. She gave birth to Shakuntala and she left. Like this we see in Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, I think in 9th canto, if I'm not wrong, a story of Pururava. So Pururava got attracted to Urvasi. Urvasi is the she's called most beautiful Apsara on the heavenly planets. She's called ornament of the heavenly planets. So Pururava got attracted and they lived for some time, and we see same episode like how Urvasi leaves Pururava and goes to her planet again. Then Pururava becomes so mad and wandered here and there in search of her. He begged her feet, please go, don't go back, please come back, please come back. Being a Kshatriya, being a very strong leader, a proud person, it's quite embarrassing for the king to do such activities. So these kind of episodes teaches us how one can fall down or one can embarrass themselves if you're attracted too much to the material things. We see quite often around us people who are in relationship and they break up and they move on, and then we see how there are so many people who have taken actions of self-destructive actions, depressive actions. So this attachment is so powerful. One should be very careful. However, we see same Urvasi met Arjuna. When Arjuna went to heavenly planets during his exile to collect weapons, and Indra offered him come to heavenly planets, and he went to heavenly planets. He got association of like all the heavenly beings there, and Indra arranged Urvasi to teach dance to Arjuna. And then Urvasi is there to propose, straight away went to propose to Arjuna. Oh, I'm here for you. And we see how exemplary Arjuna's behavior is. Arjuna didn't even look at her, he was looking down. And then asked, how can I serve you? Then Urvasi expressed a desire to satisfy or enjoy with Arjuna. And Arjuna said, no, you're like my mother. Because of this relation of Pururava, who is great, long back in the dynasty where Arjuna comes, Pandavas comes. He says, no, you are like my mother, you are related to my great-grandfather. I cannot accept this proposal. And he got cursed for it. Actually, Urvasi gave all the explanation for heavenly beings. All these rules doesn't not applicable. No, don't be fear of all that. She gave all the explanations. First of all, something so attractive, we lose our logic. We just accept it. Arjuna rejected it. Still, she's trying to convince him. Still, he is like, he didn't. And on top of that, she cursed him. Still, Arjuna was so firm. Because Arjuna's self-control is due to because his devotion to Krishna. And Srila Prabhupada explains how a devotee is higher than a sage. We have seen so many examples where sages got distracted, yogis got distracted, but devotees are not. How is it possible? So Srila Prabhupada says devotees are higher than the sages. And we see epitome of such example is Haridas Thakur in this Kali Yuga. We might say, oh, these are past examples, but we see just recently Haridas Thakur, his intense devotional service, a prostitute comes and want to interrupt him, break his devotional service. But how he is just engaged in his devotional service, ask her to wait until he finishes his chanting, and then just by his intense attachment to his holy name, looking at his purity, the prostitute has become a devotee of Krishna. And he initiated her, right? Like that, devotee of Krishna is able to maintain the self-control. One might say, oh, these are very theoretical. No, it's not mechanical at all. It's like yogis have to draw their senses from everything and close their eyes and meditate or something. No, devotees need not do this. It's not mechanical. It comes. The reason they are able to do it, which even yogis are not able to do it, is param drishva nivartate. So because of the highest taste, because they got higher taste, they got attached to something great, something really positive, it becomes very easy for devotees to detach from this lower things and anything that is negative, which is not suitable for us. So this is an important lesson is devotees are teaching us when they are given these allurements, how they are able to control because they know they got the higher taste. One might say, I'm not so advanced as Haridas Thakur, I'm not so advanced as Arjuna. These examples, I'm just a beginner. I'm very, very beginning. How when something comes, I can easily get distracted. But Krishna gives that hope, Krishna gives that assurance in Bhagavad Gita. Krishna says, don't worry. All you have to do is, you have to stay in the path with determination and the consistency. You have to stick to this devotional service. Only that determination. Once I heard in the class how Krishna gives everything, but Krishna won't give us determination. So determination is something that we have to have. Okay, my goal is clear. I want to go back to Godhead, or I want to be in eternal service of Krishna. So that's my goal. So rest all, when I'm determined there, Krishna is giving hope. Or as long as you're determined, you're performing your duty. And Srila Prabhupada explains in Bhagavad Gita 9:30 purport how just stick to your chanting. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. With this process, don't worry. And we see it's very practical. People have done this just during Prabhupada's time, how people were breaking all four regulative principles at the same time, and they are completely switched, transformed by just sticking to this chanting of Mahamantra, association of Prabhupada and pure devotees and Prabhupada books. They have come. There's a lot of hope that Krishna himself is saying, and Krishna is saying this in 9:31. Very soon, Kshiparam bhavanti dharmatma शाश्वत शांतिं निगच्छति कौन्तेय प्रतिजानाति न मे भक्ता pranashyati. He says, just stick to this process. Even accidentally, if a great devotee with this allurement or someone who is determined in the path falls down, don't worry, but still stay in the path, still stay with the process. Very quickly becomes righteous. Very quickly. Krishna is saying quickly, not even like saying, oh, you'll take millions of lifetimes or anything. He's saying very quickly, he will attain everlasting peace. So this is very, very important. And we see that it's working. The process works. Before Krishna consciousness, I was in one of the social group, Indian social act group, where they do stage performances and stuff. And I was very interested, and I was in that group. I was going with my friends for all that. And imagine, I was like that. And when someone introduced us to Krishna consciousness, we say, and we all experience that when you give a book, first thing, or 50% of the times what we hear people is, I don't have time, I'm so busy, I don't have time to. First they look at the size of the book, I'm like, I can't read this, I don't have time. And when we call for the programs, they say, oh, I'm too busy, my weekends are fully occupied. That was a situation where I come from as well, so busy with everything. And everyone can vouch for it who are in the call and who are in Krishna conscious for even a week. They will vouch for it. Once we taste for Krishna, rest all goes as a low priority. Now, after Krishna consciousness starting for a year, when my other friends were calling me for those programs and performances, I said, like, I don't have time. Initially, I said I don't have time for Krishna conscious activities or reading books. Now I don't have time for Maya. I don't have time for any material things. Our priorities do change. As I said, please, if anyone disagree with this, disagree with this point, please raise your hands and speak up. So now, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. He has given us temple. He has given us a whole setup. He has given us process. He has given us Harinam, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Sankirtan movement. In this movement, we have so many activities that we can involve in, and it gives complete pleasure to the heart and soul that we don't have time for anything lower. Anything lower that we all experienced ourselves. That's why engaging in the devotees, that sadhu sangha, engaging with the devotees is crucial, and they will take care. They'll keep us engaged in, okay, this service, that service. So we don't have time for anything else other than Krishna conscious activities. But people outside might challenge. The atheist might challenge. One of the atheists comes to Srila Prabhupada and said, like, oh, Srila Prabhupada, or what if you're doing all this, people just chant and dance and do this Krishna conscious devotion all the time? What if you realize at the end of the life, there is no such spiritual world, there is no such Krishna? Krishna, how beautiful Prabhupada gives answers, right? He said, okay, let's imagine that we realize there's nothing in spirit, nothing like spiritual world or anything at the end of the life. But what are we losing? We have been eating, dancing, doing lots of festivals, so much prasad, so much enjoyment. So we are not losing anyway. But Srila Prabhupada asked, what if you realize, oh, there is Krishna watching us and you are accountable for what all you have done? Imagine your position. You can't save yourself there, right? So yeah, we got nothing to lose in Krishna conscious life. We have so much happiness, so much enjoyment and engagement, and and we don't have to worry. So that's what Srila Prabhupada has given us, such a beautiful, beautiful gift. And see, that's what this whole episode of Agnidhara is teaching us. So if he has this desires which are materialistic, like a heavenly planet or a Pitraloka, and then if you are doing how much ever austerities, one may call, quote unquote, austerities or sacrifices, whatever they do, they will be given those allurements and they will be given those kind of environment as well to progress, and they will be given that destination what they desired for. Srila Prabhupada says, if you are in this world, many people say Swargasya, especially in India, they desire for higher planets, they desire for, oh, you'll go to Swarga, do this punya, do this punya. So Srila Prabhupada says, someone here are in iron shackle, in heavenly planets they are in golden shackle. What is the difference? You're still bound. So that's why it's very important on what we are aspiring for. And that's why it's also called life is a preparation, death is an examination. So whole life, what we are doing, what we are aspiring for, what we are desiring for, that's what we think at the end of the life. That's what Agnidhara we see in the further verses. He attained the planet of Purvachit. Oh, hankering for a that was meditation when leaving the body. So that's a lesson, whatever of the life. Yeah. And what we think at the end of the life is what we get at the end, after the life. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Yam Yam Vapi Smaran Bhavam Tyajante Anta Kalevaram Tam Tam Evati Konteya Sadas Tadbhava Bhavitaha. Any affection and anything that we think, Smaran, that's what we attain. We see episodes through the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, like Bharat Maharaj got into a deer body. So whatever Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, we see that throughout Bhagavatam, there are testimonies, there are examples. It's not just theory, there are lives who have gone through the principles and successful lives of not follow the principles of Bhagavad Gita and fall down. Like everything is explained in Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. That's why Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam is so important. It's a great reminder. Nityam Bhagavata, same way. The reason why Srila Prabhupada has put Bhagavatam first thing in the morning is before we are entering into this material duties of the world. Before, and Prabhupada knows how many material attractions that we will come across during the day. But these are all reminders for us. Prepare our consciousness. Okay, I might see so and so, but stick to my, have to be determined, stick to my goal. That's what, in the same canto, in the 18th chapter, in Harivarsha, where Prahlad Maharaj prays to Nrsimhadev. He has that prayer. So devotees learn how to pray from these great devotees. That's why it's we have been training our children from childhood to learn Kunti prayers, Prahlad prayers, Gajendra Moksha prayers. So at least it's easy for them to learn and memorize. It's very hard for someone like me to memorize at this age all the verses. So when they memorize and when they try to understand gradually, we know we will be tuned to know how to pray to the Lord. So that's what Prahlad Maharaj offers a beautiful prayer. He says, Magara Dharma Dharatmajhavita Bandhusu Sangho Yadisyad Bhagavat Priyeshuna Ya Pranavrittaya Paritushta Atmavan Sityatya Adhuranna Tathendriya Priya. So he says, oh my dear Lord, I pray we may never feel attraction to the prison of family life, consisting of home, wife, children, friends, bank balance, relatives, and so on. If we do have some attachment, let it be for devotees, whose only dear friend is Krishna. Person who is actually self-realized, who has controlled the mind, perfectly satisfied with the bare necessity of life. He does not try to gratify senses. Such a person quickly advances in Krishna consciousness. Whereas others who are too attached to material things, advancement is very difficult. So Prahlad Maharaj is praying that, oh Lord, let me not be attached to too many material things. So it doesn't condemn the Grihastha life, rather distinguishes the household life as a service versus the household life as a prison of enjoyment. So it's very important lesson. This, as long as we think, oh, it's my child, he has to serve me, I'm making him so and so great personality, so he has to serve me. So that becomes a bondage. But if we make them devotees, and our aim is to serve Krishna as a family together, family prays together, stays together. So we all pray to Krishna together. So that family becomes such a beautiful family, and it's not a bondage. So we pray that to Krishna, may always engage in your service with my entire family. And that's how we can make this Grihastha life so beautiful as an ashram. That's why we call it as Grihastha ashram. So the important lesson that this verse 20 is giving is relationships which are centered in Krishna can easily move away from this temporary association to eternal service. As we just discussed in the beginning, any stories in the material world we say happily lived ever after is not true. Because this example where Purvachitti lives, he suffers, Agnidhara suffers because of the attachment. And he attains the Pitraloka. That is also not ever after, that is also temporary, a golden shackle, from iron shackle to the golden shackle. Whereas when we are centered, every devotee, everyone in the family, towards Krishna's service, that becomes, as Sri Shabdeva says, eternally happiness. Eternally happiness. What is the word that he says? Trying to get there. Brahma Saukyam Tvanantam. Anantam, there is no end to that happiness when we engage everyone in the service of Krishna, not by force, with just love. And when you are determined, it's a very important lesson, especially the younger generation. It's not that we push on the younger generation, it's our determination. They learn from the people's behavior and how we are able to progress in the path of bhakti. That will definitely come to the younger generation. So this household life, one has to service of Krishna. That becomes happily live ever after. So devotees live ever after happily, eternally together. My Guru Maharaj, His Holiness Kadam Kanam Swami Maharaj, last message just caught into my thoughts now. He is saying like how he's waiting for us. Obviously, spiritual masters are eternal. They are always there for us. Janme Janme. Prabhu's they are the master for all our lives. So they are waiting for us. He says, I'm waiting for you. So we can have a big festival here in ISKCON upstairs. In the spiritual world, we can have a very big festival together. So that's what, then everything becomes eternal. There's no separation. There's no separation whatsoever after, because Krishna is in the center. So just I want to recap a few practical applications that we just discussed in these verses. Is it's a good lesson for us to examine ourselves, the motive behind our worship. So what is our motive? Is it material? Is it spiritual? One might, it's very easy to get entangled or go into this one, because even the path, following the path of spirituality, one might say, oh, I'm wearing tilak, I'm doing everything. But it's also important to check our motives time to time. As one of my Siksha Guru says, every Ekadasi, spend some time, whatever service I'm doing, what is my motivation behind it? Am I really hankering for lower things, or am I hankering for the higher things? So if after doing service as well, if we are hankering for name, fame, prestige, all these lower things, that's not the right way to go. So that's why that introspection, we need to do the constant introspection of what is my motive behind my devotional activities. And another lesson is, no matter how much refinedly it looks like the material world, the refined enjoyment is still an enjoyment. It might sugarcoat, it might look very cultured, but we need to be very careful from Maya. And the very important lesson, a third point is, family life should become an ashrama, not as a trap, as Prahlad Maharaj is praying in the 5:18:10. He's praying, let me not get into the trap of this one. And last lesson, very important lesson, whatever the worldly arrangements that we come across, whatever the roles, situations, comforts, they are still temporary. It's not permanent. So one should make ourselves more and more dependent on Krishna rather than any other material possessions. So with this, yes, I would like to conclude the discussion, but I really want to hear from you if any corrections, inputs that you want to add to this.
Hare Krishna, Sumati. Very
Hare
nice
Krishna, Mataji.
class. Thank you very much for that. I was just thinking one thing. Agnidhara, he was thinking of Purvachiti, and he was still attracted towards her. And it's written that he goes to Pitraloka. So in Pitraloka, the Purvachiti was there. So Pitraloka is almost in the between the Swargloka and the earth.
Yeah.
So what happens to people who go to Pitraloka? They can go from there to Swargloka, or they can come back to earth.
Mataji, I think it's explained in previous canto, then third canto, if I'm not wrong, where all the heavenly demigods are praying when Prithu Maharaj and Archi are going back to Vaikuntha. They were praying there. It's like it's very rare for them, someone who is in higher planets, heavenly planets, Pitraloka, or them, to go back to Krishna, because there's so much enjoyment and there is hardly scope for having that hankering to go back to Krishna. Whereas as devatas pray there, they say, oh, you having this human life in this earthly planet is so fortunate, because we are so miserable conditions, we have miserable conditions, we have very high opportunity to think of Krishna and going back to Krishna in the same lifetime. So that's what my understanding, Mataji. There is a definitely scope everywhere. They can go back to Krishna even from Brahman effulgence. There are high chances to go back to Golok Vrindavan for the souls who are impersonalists from there, but chances of falling back are also there. So that's my understanding, Mataji.
So basically, the best place for people who are in Pitraloka to come back to earth, where they have got a chance and engage in devotional service. And from there, as we learn from Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, that all the stories we hear by devotional service, they can go to Krishna Loka. And so Pitraloka, probably it is hard. And we have so many times that, it's like karmakand activities, that they do special, the ceremonies and give, food to pitras. Food means that prasad and all that. And by praying and giving them prasadam, and probably the pitras are able to also get the purification by having prasad which is offered through Vedic rituals and all that. And then maybe from purification over there, they may be able to go back to Krishna rather than coming back to the earth. And that's the purpose of doing that special, the ceremony or,
Shraddha ceremonies.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Yes.
Wonderful class. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. I think the Shraddha ceremonies we covered in the earlier chapters, where there is also people in Kali Yuga just making it so mode of ignorance. They just offer anything and whatever, the person who has left the body, and they're just spoiling the whole Vedic culture also. And they say, oh, my grandfather likes this, he's eating this, all kinds of not prasadam. But the actual purpose is we are offering to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is in Pitruloka, Pitrudevata, the representative.
Yamdev.
And then he will help. Then this prasadam we have to offer to them, and he will help them to go higher. Yeah. Yes, but it's a long process. Yes, Mataji, we all got an opportunity in this human life. And that's why, lesson is we are not hankering for Pitruloka and then it's going through the long process. Better we stick to the devotional service given by Prabhupada and directly hold his dhoti to go back to Golok Vrindavan.
And Mataji, it is said that Purvachitti goes back to Brahmaji for worshipping Brahma and serving Brahma. So this connects Pitralok and Brahmalok.
Yes, Mataji. I will go deeper, but I think she went back to Brahma, but she can she can do the service of Brahma from Pitraloka as well, right?
Yeah,
Even in this...
we're not very sure. Because about Pitraloka,
she never went to Brahma, but she was worshipping him, like we are in the earth planet,
and worshipping
we can
Krishna.
worship Krishna in the earth planet. Purvachiti was in Pitraloka, and that's why Agnidhara went to Pitraloka, but she was worshipping Brahma. So it's not mentioned that she went to the planet of Brahma. That's what I understand.
Thank you, Mataji. I think that makes really sense. Yeah, thanks for clarifying that.
Lovely class, Mataji. No questions. Thank you. Haribol.
Thank you so much, Mataji. Thank you so much, devotees, for your valuable association. Vansha kalpatarubhyasya kripa sindhubhye
Patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo
Vrinda ki jai.
Jai.
Jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Grantha Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam ki jai.
Our great Sumati Devidasi ki jai.
Jai.